Proverbs 23 verses 20 and 21 says, "Be not among wine bibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh, for the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags." It's interesting how medically accurate the Bible is when it addresses such matters, since everybody tells us the Bible's outdated, etc., and archaic. This is an example of that. The fact is, one of the main reasons behind poverty is drunkenness. Becoming drunkards and or its close cousin of drug abusers has led millions of Americans to joblessness and welfare. Sadly, investigations and studies have shown that those who go on welfare and food stamps end up living off junk food and then go into very unhealthy forms of obesity, and it's the beginning of a downward spiral. You may wonder what the connection to gluttony is. Well, it's just a reality that most people who live this substance abuse lifestyle end up in some form of gluttony. Many will party and eat a lot of food, vomit, and then go back for more. Others just love junk food and they'll gorge, but then purge so as not to gain weight. And if you missed our previous Proverb devotional, you should go back and listen to that, and several others that we've done over the years discussing the matter of gluttony. But gluttons can be fat or skinny. It's according to what form it takes. Not every fat person is a glutton, by the way. But the welfare system is filled with many, of course not all, but a huge number of gluttons and drunks who are lazy and will not work. And then again, sadly, the government has enabled these drunks and or gluttons to remain on welfare permanently and never have to work. God's word says in 2 Thessalonians 3:10, "For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat." But Congress ignores God's word and rewards laziness. So the typical welfare recipient just lays around and gets more unhealthy. And that becomes a burden on the welfare system, but diabetes and heart conditions leads to all sorts of other health problems, and that's caused health care costs to skyrocket for all of us. And that's just one of the things behind our skyrocketing health care costs. But it is all wicked. The government is wicked for this deadly welfare system that it enables the wicked, enables unrepentant drunks and gluttons. It does help some people, but it enables a lot of wickedness. As Ecclesiastes 7:17 says, "Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time?" And our proverb warns, "For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags." There are exceptions, so don't write me and tell me about one of those exceptions and think that that refutes what I'm saying, because it's not me saying it, it's God's word saying it. And your exceptions that you know of, they prove the rule. That's why they called those exceptions. But I believe the mass majority of our listeners and viewers can see the connection. And I'm here to tell you, in one way or another, I've seen this play out before my eyes. If I could take you in a time machine and show you at least a dozen people, I could show you in the year 1990, and then fast forward and show you how they followed this pattern, whether it was booze or drugs or just abusive lifestyle. They became an example of this proverb. You fast forward to our day and compare them to 1990, you'd have trouble believing it could even happen. These people in 1990 were just normal people, and we're talking professing Christians in some cases. There was no indication that these people would end up like they did. But most of them are in an early grave, so if I took you to them now, I'd have to take you to their burial site. Sinful choices will lead to rags. And it was all laid out for us back in Proverbs 19, verses 15 and 16 in past devotionals, where verse 15 says, "Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger." But by contrast, verse 16 says, "He that keepeth the commandment keepeth his own soul, but he that despiseth his ways shall die."